I was on a video stream tonight, or a live stream, I should say, and I asked a question. Any suggestions for a video? Nobody had none, but in this stream, Harry Potter come up of all things, and the boy who lived, and this gave me inspiration. The boy who lived, the boy who had purpose, the man who has purpose that does not realize it until he does. This is me. Now, the first part of this video is going to seem like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm not. And I'm going to tell you about my young childhood. I about died, I don't know how many times. I've danced with death, and she's a bitch, but she didn't take me. When I was 8, 9 months old, I got very, very sick. I about died many, many different times through the age of 4. I spiked the temperature so high that I forgot everything that I learned. I even knew how to tie my shoes. I knew my ABCs. I could count to, way on up there past 100 by the time that this happened. And they draw blood on me. I was in the hospital more than I wasn't. And they just thought I had really bad asthma. Well, the last time that I went to the hospital for this, my mom was in waiting and everything, and they was doing whatever they did with me. And a nurse asked her if she ever tried Triminic orange. Ma said no, and the nurse said, well, it's really good, and it helps clear out the sinuses and everything. Maybe you should try it. So when I finally got out of the hospital, Mom went and got me some Triminic, and I took, a few doses, and then I started sneezing. And I sneezed all this foam rubber up. Big old pile, Mama told me. Well, we had a house back in the 70s, and Ma got rugs with foam rubber on the back so they wouldn't slide on the hardwood floors. And when she seen that, she raised it up, and there was a huge hole out of it I shoved up my nose. Now, they took x-rays and everything, but where that was black, it didn't show up. I've never, since then, I haven't been able to smell. I have no sense of smell from this. And I always regretted it. Of course, I wasn't helped that much because it was always stirred up in my face that I was supposed to have a brother that was stillborn after Ma had a wreck, and she wasn't supposed to have any kids. After that, it messed her up, and I stayed in her 10 months instead of 9. Apparently, my toes got hung in the ribs because I was a very long baby. But she always threw up my brother, and, like I wasn't adequate enough, how I took it. I know that's not how she meant it now, but at the time, it really hurt. And later in life, she told me that if only I was conceived a year later, she could have had an abortion. And again, she was drunk at the time, and I forgive her. But that really does something to a young man. And I always regretted living. And I despised the fact that I did live. I didn't know why I lived. In my younger years, I figured it was just to suffer and be tortured, because certain things in my life wasn't that pleasant. Especially school. And I've talked about this before, and I won't get into it again. Then I had my sons, and I was tortured by the birthing parent for them went years, months at times not seeing them, and I got into that too. The only time I really got to see them is when the birthing parent blackmailed either mama or daddy to pay her so I could see them. And if I'd noted at the time, I never allowed that, but they was wise enough not to tell me, and that was the best thing because I was around them just enough, and we was around them just enough to show them that there's a different way of life. But as I got older, and as I gained the wisdom of many great men, I realized I actually had a purpose in life. That's be a good, the best father that I could be to my sons, and the best son that I could be to my parents, best grandson I could be to my grandparents, and nephew to my aunts and uncles. I realized that I had value. Now, before I found this great philosophy, I was still down on myself. And I hated myself not as much as when I was younger, but I still hated myself. Well, I found this great philosophy, as we all do. And it freed me. It saved my life. Because I was drinking way too much and drugging way too much just to escape the pain and ignore the pain instead of actually confronting the pain and why I felt the way I felt. And Dad, he was gone. Grandpa, he was gone. And my uncles was gone. Did have a really great friend, and I talked to Ma about these things, and I'm glad I did, and I wish I didn't, because it brought her great pain, and I just wish I hadn't have done that, but it brought me closure, so it's okay. This great philosophy showed me that my childhood and the experience thereof, I had no real decision in, because I had no other course but to endure it and go through it just like all of us. And the most important thing I done, which is the most important thing any of you great men can do, is forgive yourself for things out of your control. And yes, we may be men and get ourselves in situations through bad decisions or just because they happen. We still need to forgive ourselves, because nobody's perfect. We're all human. My best advice to anybody on this earth is to forgive yourself and let go of your self-induced regret. Yes, we all do things that we shouldn't have done, but if you can learn from it, it's well worth it. And if you go through it through no fault of your own, it's not your fault anyway. So be the boy that lived. Be the man who forgave himself. And be the man who knows he has purpose in life. Because I promise you, brothers, every man has purpose in life. The only man who doesn't is the one who chooses not to acknowledge it